What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your HeroClix headquarters. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the new vehicle characters with the pilot trait, and we're going to be going over what is the best pilot for each of them. Now, to save time, I really just want to talk about the best and maybe second best pilot for each of them. But without further ado, let's rev up our engines and get started. Alright, so the first thing I really want to bring attention to is, of course, Frenchie. Just in case you guys don't already know, Frenchie, the common from Wheels of Vengeance, is one of the best things to kind of co-pilot any of your figures, because he has this trait that at the beginning of the game, you may choose a friendly character with the vehicle keyword that hasn't been chosen by another Frenchie. If you do, turn Frenchie to any click and place him on the chosen character's card. This game, that character can use the powers displayed on Frenchie's dial, and when the chosen character is KO'd, place Frenchie into the square that character last occupied on click number 1. So you can essentially add him onto any of these vehicle characters to give him any of these power sets you see here, so either Stealth, Energy Explosion, and Perplex, or Precision, Willpower, and Enhancement, or just Sidestep and Close Combat Expert, which is actually my favorite one. I like to put that on a lot of them. So yeah, lots of great options. He is 25 points. You do have to play him on the team. He's not like an equipment or anything. It's just that at the very beginning of the game, he will hop onto any one of your vehicles you want. So he makes a great addition to any of the characters we're going to be talking about in the rest of this video, so just keep him in mind. Alright, so starting us off, I just want to quickly go over the actual pilot trait in case you guys don't know. So all these traits are a little bit different, but generally all the same with how they work. The only difference is the name or keyword that is allowed to become the pilot of the specific figure. So in his case, it's the name Moon Knight, or with the Marvel Knights keyword. So when revealing your force, you may choose a single base character on your sideline that is named Moon Knight or has the Marvel Knights keyword, and turn it to any click. Moon Knight can use the standard attack and damage powers displayed on that character's dial. When Moon Knight is KO'd, before removing him from the map, generate the chosen character from your sideline on its last non-KO click. This game, that character can't be healed or replaced and isn't scored when KO'd. Protected Pulse Wave. So there's a lot to kind of unpack there, and I'm going to go more in depth on some of it as we go. So basically, you just want a character that has strong attack and damage powers, and you need actual standard powers, like actual colors, no white square special powers. You're not going to get anything from that. So the best choice for Moon Knight is actually the Moon Knight from the OP kit that we just had recently. Unfortunately, this guy is pretty hard to find. It was, I guess, like a short print run or something on that. Not a lot of stores got this OP kit, unfortunately, and this guy is pretty expensive. So you're gonna be paying a lot more to get this guy than to get this actual Moon Knight rare figure. But as you can see, he does have some really powerful combinations of powers with either Penetrating Blast and Prob, or Pulse Wave and Outwit, or even Steel Energy and Close Combat Expert. You got 3 great options there, whatever you want to do. And since he will hop out on the last click, he's going to have that 11 attack, 4 damage with Close Combat Expert to be 12 for 5 up close. And then his trait here says when he KOs an opposing character, give him an avatar token if he doesn't already have one. And then when Moon Knight would be KO'd, you may remove an avatar token. If you do, instead turn him to click number 4. So notice there's nothing here about healing. That's really great. So if he pops out from the pilot being KO'd, then as long as they don't immediately follow up attack and KO him while he's on his last click, he's going to have that turn to get in there and make an attack, because he does have a special movement power that gives him hypersonic. When he uses it after resolutions, deal penetrating damage to a character he moved through that action. And in addition to that, he has the ability to free, choose between energy shield, combat reflexes, barrier as free to generate 1 marker. So you got 3 great options there, but essentially you got that hypersonic to get in there, smack somebody for 5 damage. You won't be able to heal off the Steel Energy, but you will get an avatar token if you KO somebody. So if he's KO'd, he'll, be able to remove that to turn himself to click number 4. So yeah, it's a really great option there. It's the best power combos, as well as, a really strong character to come out after he would be KO'd. And he's 200 points, but that doesn't matter because your opponent's not going to score him. You don't have to pay to put him on the sideline for his pilot trait or anything like that. So for all those reasons, this OP kit Moon Knight is by far the best choice to pilot the rare Moon Knight. All right, next up, let's take a look at Elektra. Now, for her, she has a pilot for Elektra, Daredevil, or the Martial Artist keyword. And as you can see here, she does have the ability to turn the character chosen for Elektra's pilot trait to a different click. And that is really the main thing that we're going to be focusing on here. She also has hypersonic and stealth, which is really nice. And, some blades and close combat expert, so she is really good already up close. So in my opinion, the best figure to pilot her is actually going to be the new Hawkeye and Hawkeye duo convention exclusive. They do have the martial artist keyword, which allows them to become her pilot. And the reason I like them so much is because if you take a look at their dial, they have so many options, so many different power combinations. And with her ability to turn them to a different click, she can basically pick any of these power combinations any turn that you need to. Now again, she is just getting the attack and damage powers, so she's not getting all of these powers, but still you have precision strike with leadership, penetrating blast with range combat expert, energy explosion with perplex, another penetrating blast, this time with enhancement, incapacitate with perplex, precision strike with range combat expert, or blades and battle fury. Now she already has blades, but the battle fury could be nice to get through shape change. You got several different really strong ranged combinations there with either penetrating blast range combat expert or precision strike range combat expert, or even penetrating and enhancement so you can up the damage of other ranged attackers you have next to you, which is nice because she's double based. Otherwise, you also have like energy explosion, perplex, and I probably wouldn't really use the incap very often. I'd probably just go to the energy explosion with the perplex. But that is still an option, and Precision Strike with Leadership is great, because if you need leadership, like if your leadership character gets KO'd or something, you have that option as well. So it's good to have so many great options there for her pickup power. Though I will admit that Elektra does actually have a couple other good options. They don't have nearly as many, pickup power options here as this Hawkeye and Hawkeye duo have, but she does have a couple more common options. One that I actually do really like is the Court of Owls Assassin, just because he has Precision Strike and Shape Change, and that's probably what I would sit on all the time. But you could swap over to Exploit and a Poison, and you could catch somebody off guard with the Poison. I think that would be pretty funny. So that's a pretty good, cheaper option for you. But she also has access to like Outwit and some other great powers through, like Batman's and other great martial artists. Funny enough, I wouldn't really recommend using any of the Daredevils, or we don't even have an Elektra in Modern to play her with. And the Daredevils don't usually have many good attack and damage powers for her. So you really want to stick to martial artists at the very least. But yeah, in my opinion, Hawkeye and Hawkeye Duo is her best pilot currently. Next up, we have Alejandra Ghost Rider. And I do love the sculpt on her. Very awesome. But we'll take a look at her here, and she has the pilot ability for Fantastic Four or Mystical. However, in her case, it's really important to pay attention to her trait here that says when Ghost Rider is KO'd, place her on her card instead of removing her from the game. The next time another friendly character with Rider in its name is KO'd, after resolutions, place Ghost Rider from her card into the square that character last occupied on click number 1. So you really want to have a Rider specifically. So there's a lot of great Mystical options, not as many Fantastic Four. There's some cool Fantastic Four figures, but in her case specifically, I would stick to Mystical to get a good Ghost Rider figure, or actually, in this case, slightly different, but it does have Rider in the name. We have Death Rider. He's definitely one of the best options for this Ghost Rider because he has Rider in the name. So the cool thing is, after she's KO'd and he pops out onto the map, if your opponent does just follow up and take him out immediately, she just comes right back on click number 1, albeit with no pilot, but she does come right back into the game. So we'll take a quick look at Death Rider here and why I like him so much. Obviously, he's going to come into the game on the last click, and you can see he's got a 12 attack, 18 invincible with flurry, and a 2 damage with Close Combat Expert. But the real reason that is great is because of his special attack power. It gives him Blades, Claws, Fangs, and Poison, but also Giant Reach X, where X is equal to his current click number. So he will be able to have an 8 range flurry, essentially, with Close Combat Expert for a 13 attack, and you can either deal 3 damage each hit or roll for those blades. So he's a really big powerhouse to come in, and if your opponent does attack him and try to KO him right away, then they're going to take another click of Mystics because he's got Mystics, but on top of that, it's just going to trigger her trait to come right back into the game. So besides that, there's a couple other Ghost Rider options you can take a look at. Like the common Ghost Rider is pretty good to give her Steel Energy and Shape Change. And because he's got Rider in the name, when he comes out, if he gets KO'd immediately, she comes right back out. So that is still a decent option as well. But overall, Death Rider is just the most powerful in my opinion. Because I forgot to mention, he also has a trait that when a character, friendly or opposing, with a mystical keyword is KO'd after resolutions, you can generate the Sarah Bystander, which does give you you Perplex, Sidestep, Super Senses, Blades Claws, Penetrating Blast, and support too. So yeah, she's a really, really strong bystander. So if they choose not to KO him and they KO somebody else that happens to have the mystical keyword, he does get a free bystander out of it too. So that's nice. And for all those reasons, I would say Death Rider is currently her best pilot. All right, and moving on next, we have the Headless Horseman. And I'll be honest with you guys, I kind of forgot this guy existed for a second, so I had to go back and film this after I just filmed the rest of this video. But regardless, this dude has the pilot trait for Assassin and Soldier keyword, and that's pretty interesting. It does give you a lot of interesting options. I will say, though, that this guy has a very bland dial. Like, there's not a lot going on here until the back half. He just has phasing. He has a special where he can't be healed, and he takes a maximum of 1 damage from attacks if the attacker can use Blades Claws, Exploit, Precision Strike, or has a positively modified damage value, which is really cool. But if your opponent finds a way around that, or just straight up outwits the power altogether, then, he's really just has to rely on his 8-click long dial and his probability control maybe, because he does have leadership and prob special up front and then just prob on the back half. So yeah, he is, pretty reliant on that effect so that he only takes a maximum of 1 damage. But like I said, if your opponent outwits that, he can go down pretty quickly. And so he really needs a lot of extra help here. You really want to give him like a motorcycle or something to give him like some super senses and charge or something like that. But honestly, the best pilot I've seen for this guy is actually this Spider Supreme from the Spider-Man Beyond Amazing set. That's like a double amalgamation of Spider-Man, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, and Captain America. And this dude's funny as the pilot because, he does have a soldier keyword, so that is what allows him to be the pilot here. And I mean, you really just probably want to take Precision Strike and Outwit for the most part, because he can't be healed, and doesn't have range to use Penetrating Blast, and he already has Prob, so, the Perplex maybe, but yeah, probably you want Precision and Outwit. Regardless of that, though, when this guy comes out, he has this long trait here that when he's KO'd by an attack before removing him from the game, you may generate up to 2 characters named Arachnite, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, Spider-Man, or Soldier Supreme from your sideline on their last non-KO clicks, then heal them each 2 clicks, and the generated characters can't share a name, and the total points of the generated characters must be equal to or less than Spider Supreme's point value, and this game generated characters aren't scored when they're KO'd. So a lot to read there, but yeah, basically this dude pops out on his last click. He's not super strong, just 10 attack, 17 energy shield, some prob, hypersonic though. He can't be healed from the pilot trait, so the steel energy doesn't really matter there. But if this dude gets KO'd, he immediately pops out 2 more characters in his place from your sideline, and those characters can be healed, and they can do all sorts of crazy stuff. And you have 250 points to work with there, so you could pop out like a 200-point Spider-Man or the 200-point Moon Knight that we took a look at earlier, and then you have like 50 more points still to work with. You could bring out, like, if you're not using a Prime, maybe the 45-point Prime Captain America, or there's plenty of good 50 and under Captain Americas. The Pegasus Captain America at 40 points. There's a lot of great stuff you can pop out from him as well. So it's kind of funny with Headless Horseman. You just kind of want to run him out there, do whatever you can with him. If he dies, he dies. He absorbs a ton of damage. That's cool. And then he pops out Spider Supreme, who, if he dies, he dies too. And they take another Mystics from him, and then you pop out 2 more characters in his place that are probably a lot stronger than even he was. And it's just a lot for your opponent to have to get through and deal with. So, they're probably, even if they use their whole turn to KO Headless Horseman and maybe find a way to, finish off Spider Supreme, then they still have 2 more characters to deal with after that are both way higher points and stronger than, the original character was in the first place. Because Headless Horseman is only 60 points. So yeah, he's pretty cool for that. I think it's pretty funny. Although, like I said, he does need some equipment to actually make him useful in the first place. But like I said, the best pilot for him, for all the shenanigans here, in my opinion, is Spider Supreme. All right, but up next we have the super rare Blade, who looks freaking sweet with that, sliding sword strike attack about to happen. But we'll take a look at his pilots here. He has the pilot trait for Blade, Name, or the monster keyword. Now, in his case, he doesn't really have any crazy powers that would, lend themselves better to certain pilots. So you really just want a strong pilot that's going to enhance him better, or that is going to, offer you the most value when he would be KO'd. So in my opinion, and there's going to be some overlap here with another character we're going to talk about later, but because of the monster keyword, I just think his best pilot is going to be the Legacy Hulk. This dude is just absolutely nuts. But, if he comes out when Blade is KO'd, he has a 12 attack precision strike with 6 damage. And he also has charge, flurry, plasticity on his movement power. So he's a huge powerhouse when he comes out, 19 invincible. Plus, once per game when he'd be KO'd, you can instead turn him to click number 11, which is like a banner dial that has Outwit, Perplex, and Prob Control, and Safeguard Outwit. And then when he would take damage, instead turn him to click number 4. So then he goes right back to click number 4, and you have to get through that whole dial again. So he's really, really strong, coming out, because none of that is healing. That's when he would be KO'd, go to this click. When he would take damage, go to this click. There's no healing going on there. So he makes a very, very powerful pilot. In addition to that, you also get to choose between either Super Strength and Empower, or Battle Fury, or Precision Strike with Battle Fury or Shape Change. So Precision Strike and Battle Fury is a great combo to get through those pesky, Shape Change Super Sense combos. It gets through all of that, and they basically just have to roll a 6 on Super Senses, or at least -1. In some cases, they might still be able to roll a 5 or 6 if they get +1 or whatever. But yeah, it's a really great combo there. Otherwise, the Precision and the Shape Change is really great. Gives him some kind of a defensive boost as well. And, just taking a look at his dial, he either has Exploit or Prob, and then his special is a Special Blades. And so he can really make use out of any of those powers. So by far, Legacy Hulk is just the best pilot for him. A couple other options here. I actually like both of the blades in the Wheels of Vengeance set, because again, you have the Precision Strike and Battle Fury combo from the OP kit blade, and you also, could take Exploit if you really wanted to, but I would prefer the top dial here. And then from this common blade, you have, Steal Energy and Exploit, which is really great if you're playing him at the 60-point line where he doesn't already start with Exploit. Otherwise, Blades Shape Change, again, he already has Blades, so kind of whatever. But I really think either, Precision Strike, Battle Fury, or Steal Energy and Exploit are 2 great options for him as well. But once they come out, they just don't really do anything. They're not a huge threat like this Hulk is. And last but not least, the other one I want to talk about for him really quickly is Doc Sasquatch, who does have Super Strength and Outwit, or Super Strength with Empower. The main thing, though, he's not really giving him the greatest power selection there, but he has this cool trait that when he would be KO'd by an opposing effect, instead roll a d6, place the result on his card. If that result is not already on this card, turn him to click number 1, otherwise KO him, Protected Pulse Wave. So every time he would be KO'd, you have a chance of bringing him back. The first time is pretty much guaranteed. So it doesn't matter if they KO him, he's going to come right back. And then every time after that, he could be KO'd 3-4 times before they actually get through him, and they're not going to get any points for him. So there's no reason for them to attack him. So they might just leave him on that charge Super Strength click there on the end. And, he also has this traded Special Perplex. So he's a really good option too if you're, not going to be using a Prime otherwise, and you're okay with him taking up your Prime slot on your sideline. But even though Blade has so many great options, I actually think the best is still Legacy Hulk. All right, on to one of my personal favorites, the super rare Ghost Rider. He has one of the sickest sculpts in HeroClix right now. He is so freaking awesome. But let's take a look at why we are here. He's got Pilot, Ghost Rider, or Midnight Suns. To be honest, not great options. You don't have a lot of super cool options for either of those. However, I want to specifically talk about a couple of options that you can use in addition to a couple pieces of equipment that actually make him pretty great. With the rest of them, I didn't really want to talk too much about equipment, but I did want to go over it with him a little bit because, it is really heavily enhanced by certain equipment. And to be honest, he really needs the extra equipment because, like I said, he doesn't have the best options. So the first one being the common Ghost Rider. This one is one you want for a more defensive version of this Ghost Rider. This will give him the Steal Energy and Shape Change combo, so he'll be able to heal up, he'll get that extra rollout from Shape Change. That's great. And if you're going to go with that option, and play him a little bit more defensively, you're definitely going to want to equip him with a motorcycle. And you want to choose the charge and super sense option for the motorcycle. That's going to give him charge, which is nice, +2 to speed, which is great because he has hypersonic already, and mainly the super senses as well. So he's going to have a super sense shape change combo. So that's going to give him double rollouts, and it's even better because there's not going to be anything they can do to stop him from using his powers. They can't outwit it or pulse wave through it or anything. So it makes that really powerful. In addition to that, he does have the team player team ability, so he could copy Spider-Man to get an additional +1 on the super senses, which is really strong. Now, although if they pulse wave him, he wouldn't be able to use the team ability, so he won't get the +1. So that's kind of a little niche thing you have to remember. But regardless, still really, really strong. And I probably should point out the fact that, just in case you guys don't know, this is the trait I'm talking about. Ghost Rider and adjacent friendly characters can use their powers regardless of opposing effects, protected pulse wave. So that's what makes him really strong defensively. Offensively, his Stuntman of Justice trait, giving him regen, willpower, but also when Ghost Rider makes an attack before rolling, you may choose that the roll can't be re-rolled or have its die replaced, and if you do, he deals penetrating damage, and after resolutions, deal him 1 unavoidable damage if he missed all targets. So offensively, that's nice because it's going to be penetrating, and you can't re-roll or replace any dies in it, which kind of can suck for you if you miss, but you know, for your opponent to not be able to do that is great. And the offensive combo that we're going to want to utilize here is going to be, again, the Blade from the OP kit that gives Precision Strike and Battle Fury, as well as Bucky's Arm to give him Close Combat Expert and Super Senses on a 6. So again, he'll get that extra rollout from Senses on a 6, and he could still copy Spider-Man to have like regular Super Senses. But the Close Combat Expert giving him that +1 attack and damage value, as well as Blade giving him the Precision Strike and the Battle Fury, combined with his trait to be able to do penetrating and not be able to be rerolled. It really helps to cut through just about any defense power. And if you can get some like Empower or something on him, he can do 6 damage, ignoring shape change, penetrating, -1 on super senses, which is really good at one-shotting Carnage Silver Surfers, and just a bunch of other threats. Even without an Empower, 5 penetrating damage is a lot to KO most things. So yeah, he's a really, really strong character offensively or defensively, and I would play him, like I said, either with Blade and Bucky's Arm combo or this common Ghost Rider and motorcycle combo. I think, in my opinion, those are the 2 best combos I've seen or heard of personally, and in his case, neither of them are really best in my opinion. It's kind of just how you want to play him. What's your strategy? Do you want to play more defensively or offensively? What's your own personal preference? So those are currently the 2 best options for him in my opinion. All right, next up is Sleipnir, or Sleipnir. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. Odin's horse, and he is either at 125 or 60 points, and his pilot trait is for the name Odin or the Asgardian or deity keyword. So there's some pretty cool options there. And we'll take a quick look at what he can do because it is important here. He has charge, and when Sleipnir uses it after resolutions, you may generate the character chosen for his pilot trait from your sideline on its last non-KO click. That character may make a close attack. If you do and hit after resolutions, return them to your sideline on any click. Otherwise, remove them from the game without scoring them. So really high risk, high reward. If you charge in there, you can then generate your pilot to get a free attack in. However, if they miss, they're gone for good, which can suck. So I think one of the biggest points there is you want a pilot with a really high attack value, at least 11 or 12, to be able to make sure you get those hits. He also has a cool damage power that says when him or the character chosen for his pilot trait attacks, attack rolls of 8 are critical hits, which I think is really nice. So in my opinion, one of the best pilots for him is going to be the new Legacy Hela. She has Asgardian and deity keywords, so she can be the pilot. And one of the cool things about her is that when he attacks and she comes in on her last click, she does have a 12 attack, 3 damage, and this cool damage power that gives her exploit weakness. And when she makes a close attack with a single target, her minimum damage value is the target's click number, and the hit target can't use stop. So the cool combo here is when Sleipnir charges in, he hopefully hits them and deals them some damage, getting them to a lower click number, so that her minimum damage value could be higher than her actual damage value. So she might be able to deal them like 4 or 5 damage. And on top of that, it's penetrating from exploit weakness, and they can't use stop clicks. So she could just knock somebody right through all their stop clicks and KO them to finish them off after Sleipnir already hit them and dealt some damage, and maybe somebody else even, right? So she is one of the best options in my opinion opinion, for that. However, the only downside for her is that when Sleipnir would eventually be KO'd, when she comes out, you know, she still has that awesome 12 attack and 3 damage exploit special, but she doesn't really have anything else going on. She's got 6 range, but she's got no movement attack. She has a little stealth to keep her protected, but she just has regen, which she can't use to heal. So she's not going to be very great to have after the fact, but still she is another character with Mystics, so to finish her off, they're going to have to take another Mystics damage, which is at least nice. So if you want somebody that's going to have some more staying power after the fact, for when Sleipnir might be KO'd, in my opinion, the best choice then would be the Prime Wonder Woman from Batman Team Up. She's really great because on her last click, she does have a 12 attack with Precision Strike and Exploit Weakness, which is really going to help combo with, you know, Sleipnir charging in, generating her on her last click to get those attacks in. But on top of that, she has a trait that when a friendly standard character would be KO'd by an opposing effect, after resolutions, turn Wonder Woman to click number 1. Wonder Woman can use the printed team abilities from friendly characters in your KO area. So that's not healing, right? She's going to come out with a 19 defense with super senses and the Wonder Woman team ability, giving her +1. So she'll have a 4 through 6 super senses and a 19 defense, meaning she's going to be really hard to get through. But if your opponent doesn't finish her off and they go to KO any of your other characters, when they do, she's going to just turn right back to click number 1 and be that much more annoying to deal with, because that's not healing. So that is a really, really powerful effect after the fact. Now, unfortunately, she won't be able to be equipped with the utility belt or the lantern ring because she's going to be on the sideline to start out with. But still, I think if you're wanting some more longevity, she's going to be the best option overall. However, I do really like the Hela combo to be able to just, you know, one-shot figures right off the map. And Wonder Woman does suffer the fact that she is a Prime, so she's going to be taking up your Prime slot, and she's just going to be sitting on the sideline for most of the game. So there is definitely some drawbacks there. But I think overall, those are going to be the 2 best options for Sleipnir. All right, next up we have Wolverine. One of my favorite chases, just because I am a huge Wolverine fan, and this sculpt is just so freaking awesome with him doing that slide and everything. Very cool. But enough of that. Let's get to his pilot trait. His pilot can be either Wolverine named or have the Alpha Flight or X-Men keywords. And to be honest, currently, you know, there's not a lot of great options for Wolverine or Alpha Flight that's not going to get him something he doesn't already have, which he does just have to start out with Blades and Exploit, and then on his specials, he's got a special Hypersonic, which is really cool, and the ability to actually move terrain markers when he moves is really nice too, but then he just gets Battle Fury Exploit later on as well. So at least for Wolverine, you're not going to get much different stuff having a Wolverine pilot, and there's just not a lot of Alpha Flight options in general. But there's a lot of stuff in X-Men. X-Men is a huge keyword. And to be honest, there's a lot of good options if you just want something simple like Close Combat Expert, Precision Strike, Shape Change, any of that kind of random, generically good power combos. But in my opinion, the best thing to be his pilot currently, and remember this could change drastically when we get the new Deadpool Weapon X set coming out here in a few months, but currently I really like the Apocalypse chase from X of Swords. The reason for this is we can, you know, put him on the first couple clicks to give Wolverine Precision Strike and Shape Change, which is a nice power combo, or you could get Outwit if you just want an Outwit with no attack power. However, it's when Wolverine gets KO'd and this Apocalypse comes out where he gets really nasty, because he has a 13 attack penetrating blast, 5 damage exploit weakness, 8 range, 21 defense with a stop clicks that says Apocalypse can't be damaged by opposing effects, healed, or chosen for Mastermind. And then at the beginning of your turn, you can generate a Demon Bystander in a square within 6 squares. However, at the end of your turn, deal Apocalypse 1 unavoidable damage. That's the only biggest downside, is that he's only going to last the turn. However, he's basically untouchable. He can't be damaged by opposing effects. And he's got a 21 defense with traded super senses on top of that. So why would they even try to attack him in the first place? I don't know. But at the beginning of your turn, you're going to get to generate a free Demon Bystander. And that Demon Bystander is really strong with an 8 movement charge, 11 attack quake, 17 invincible, and 3 damage exploit. And you're going to get to keep that Bystander the rest of the game. And that is by itself, you know, pretty decent already. But mainly you do have one turn with that Apocalypse out there with that 13 attack, penetrating blast, exploit weakness, 8 range. He's guaranteed going to get an attack off, and it's probably going to kill something with that kind of damage value. So I think all around, giving him a good power set of precision and shape change and having such high stats and being not able to be KO'd basically at all when he comes out means you're guaranteed going to get an attack off with those incredibly high stats, and you get the free Demon Bystander on top of that too, which can also go do something. So I think it's a 2-for-1 deal kind of thing there. And like I said, Wolverine has some other good options too. Like there's some good rogues to give him like close combat expert and steel energy and that kind of stuff. So I do like those options as well. But I think overall, currently, the most powerful pilot for him is going to be the Chase Apocalypse. Next up, we have Capwolf Chase, who again, very, very cool figure here. Gotta love Capwolf. And one thing I think is interesting about his pilot trait is it's called Wolf on Two Wheels. Literally every other pilot says specifically the name and keyword they're looking for, but his is called Wolf on Two Wheels. So that doesn't really help you. You really have to read the trait here, but it's still funny to me. So yeah, he does have it for Captain America or has the monster keyword. So it has to be named Captain America or have monster keyword. Honestly, there's not really any good Captain Americas that are going to get you anything substantial here. And, you know, there's not going to do anything really cool when they come off the sideline or anything either, especially because we have like 2 different peanut-based Captain Americas currently in modern age, and just not a whole lot of single-based ones that do anything really neat at the moment. So the monster option is by far the best option. And just like we talked about earlier with Blade, the most obvious choice is going to be the Legacy Hulk. I mean, if you guys don't know, this Capwolf is literally the reason this dude shot up to like $50 for this freaking Legacy card. I'm glad I got it at a decent deal and didn't have to spend that much. And I've always had this Hulk figure, so I was lucky for that. But yeah, I mean, this obviously just such a powerful choice, even more powerful. We already talked about why he's so good for, you know, when he's KO'd and he comes off the sideline, because he already has such a strong last click, and then when he takes the damage, he goes to the Bruce Banner dial, and then if he would be damaged again, he just goes over here to click number 4, and you have to get through all that again. So, you know, clearly very, very powerful there. And, you know, giving him like precision and shape change is nice, even though he already starts with precision, so meh there. But you could give him super strength and power or something if you want. I just wouldn't give him Battle Fury because you would cut him off entirely from making range attacks. But on top of that, he's by far the best pilot for Capwolf, because Capwolf has this amazing Moon, Bark at the Moon trait, where at the beginning of your turn, you can roll a d6 for all friendly characters of the Moon trait, and he gets to use this effect until your next turn. So on a 1 through 4, he just gets shape change, which again, kind of sucks. I mean, Hulk is already going to give a shape change, so you're not getting much there, but on a 5 or 6, free, generate the character chosen for his pilot trait on its last non-KO click, and then that character makes a close attack, and after resolutions, return it to your sideline on any click. So we're going to get to generate him on that 12 attack, 6 damage click, and that's a free, so he can running shot in there, you know, get an attack off, and then boom, generate that Hulk. And of course, he also has this ability to make some more werewolves, so he's really just bringing a lot to the table with generating a ton of werewolves and potentially generating Hulk to smash something for 6 damage. And if he's KO'd, you know, Hulk is obviously the best choice to come on off the sideline and, you know, be really hard to deal with and really strong as well. So you could also argue that Doc Sasquatch is decent because he can at least give him super strength and outwit or empower, and again, is super duper hard to KO. And, you know, he can come in on the last click and at least have 11 attack, 3 damage, which is okay. So, you know, he's an okay option if you don't have the Legacy Hulk. It does suck, though, that he's a Prime, so again, he's going to be taking up your Prime slot on the sideline. However, for all those reasons, it just is definitely Legacy Hulk as his best pilot right now. All right, and now we're just on to the Legacy card characters that have the pilot trait. The first one being the 2099 Ghost Rider, who has the pilot trait for Ghost Rider or Future. And I will say that, you know, there's not a lot of great options for Ghost Rider that are single-based anyway, but Future has some very interesting choices. So one thing that's really important to note with him is that besides the normal pilot stuff, he also has a trait, the Ghost Rider of the Future, that says Ghost Rider may replace his attack value with the attack value displayed on the character chosen for his pilot trait. If the chosen character has a standard power displayed that Ghost Rider also has displayed, Ghost Rider modifies the corresponding combat value by +1. So it really matters who his pilot is, because he's going to have that attack value for the whole dial, and if they share any powers, he gets a +1 in that slot as well. So I think overall, one of the best options you can choose is Absorbing Man Prime. Now, he will take up your Prime slot. However, you can put him on click number 8 where he's got a 13 attack precision strike with close combat expert, meaning we'll have a 13 attack or a 14 attack up close with our Ghost Rider, and he'll get that +1 damage as well. So we'll make him very strong in close combat. And in addition to that, I'm pretty sure that Absorbing Man's sideline active trait will still be sideline active. So that way at the beginning of the game, you can still generate his markers and you can still be moving them around throughout the game. And that way you can just pop him into the game on click number 1 instead of, his last click, and get that full point Absorbing Man. Now, if you still have Ghost Rider out, you'll lose access to all of your pilot traits and stuff, but at least you'll have a full point Absorbing Man. So I think that's a very interesting combo, and it's really nice if you can kind of time it where your opponent maybe has severely injured Ghost Rider, but he's not quite out of the fight yet. Before they manage to finish him off, you just pull out that Absorbing Man on your turn, and that way, Ghost Rider's KO'd. You don't get to generate the pilot, but whatever, better to have him at full health. So, hopefully that works out well. There's a little give and take there, but I still think overall Absorbing Man is probably the best option. However, there is one other very interesting option, and that is, yet again, the Prime Wonder Woman, who, again, is going to take up your Prime slot, so there is that downside. But like I said before with Sleipnir, if she comes in off the sideline, if your opponent KOs somebody else, she's going to be able to turn herself to click number 1. So she's going to get a lot more longevity out of herself that way. But also, you could put her on her last click with the 12 attack precision strike and the exploit weakness, both of which are going to help your Ghost Rider. And again, he's going to get that huge 12 attack and +1 to his speed because they do both share charge on that click as well. It is kind of a toss-up between these two, in my opinion. They are both primes. With Absorbing Man, you get a 14 attack and a +1 damage with a close combat expert, and the ability to still potentially bring him in off the sideline of his own effect. But with Wonder Woman, you get that 12 attack with precision strike to help get through super senses and exploit to help cut through reducers, and a +1 to his charge range. So there's a lot of bonuses there. Plus, when she would come off the sideline, if he's KO'd, then, she's just much better because she can potentially get herself back to click 1 and is just generally harder to hit with a 19 super duper senses and everything. So, it's really just up to your own personal playstyle, maybe if you do or don't have one of them. So, in my opinion, those are the two best options currently for the Legacy Ghost Rider. All right, last but not least, we have, funny enough, Man-Thing and Howard the Duck Legacy card has the pilot ability for either the name Howard the Duck or the animal keyword. So, of course, there's only like one Howard the Duck in Modern Age right now, and that is in the Wheels of Vengeance set. And he's an okay pilot, he gives some like perplex or whatever. But I think animal keyword is really where it's at here. Gives a lot more options and some very interesting ones. So, for one, they do have 3 stop clicks in a row, making them very annoying to get through on the last 3 attack specials. And then they also have a special probability control, which is really nice. But I would say, first of all, you're probably going to want to equip these guys with a motorcycle or something to give them charge, and the extra super senses on that is nice as well, just to give them some kind of move and attack, because they only have phasing to start with. So that is one thing I would recommend. But moving on to who I think would make a good pilot for these guys. One option that I found is Reptile. He has the animal keyword, and he has this cool trait that when he would be KO'd by an opposing effect, you may roll a d6. On a 4 through 6, turn him to click number 1 instead, Protected Pulse Wave. So he's got a 50-50 chance of staying alive when they would try to KO him after he comes out as the pilot. And as a pilot, he can give them, Quake, Blades, or Precision Strike with Shape Change as well. So if you do give them the motorcycle for the charge super senses, you'll have the double rollout combo, which is great. And, pretty much pick your poison here. Unfortunately, there's not actual poison. That'd be nice. But, pick whichever one you like here for Quake, Blades, or Precision. All good options. I'd probably go Precision, but, there's definitely instances where you might want the Blades or the Quake. So, yeah, I think he's actually a really, really good budget option. But the other option we've talked about a couple times with the monster keyword, but this time he does have animal. So, again, Doc Sasquatch. They do already start with super strength, so whatever. But, the outwit would be nice. And just the fact that, he is just so annoying to deal with when he would be KO'd. Like I said, you get that trait that he rolls a d6. If you don't already have that result, place it on his card, turn him to click number 1. He's not healing, so he's going to just be super duper obnoxious to KO. So I think these are pretty much the two best options here. Funny enough, I couldn't find my reptile figure. I think he's buried somewhere, but yeah, he's really good just for like an actual pilot to give them actual good powers. I think he's great, and you know, he's kind of annoying to KO, you know, if you get some lucky rolls there. But, you know, getting the outwit is nice from him, and he's going to be, like, way, way better to actually come out of the sideline and be way harder to kill. However, you know, he is a prime, so he is taking up your prime slot, so there is definitely the give and take there. So, overall, in my opinion, these are just the two best options to pilot Man-Thing and Howard the Duck currently. All right, you guys, so that is all of the current characters we have out of Wheels of Vengeance with the pilot trait, and all of the like best 1 or 2 pilots in my opinion for all of those characters. I wanted to keep it mostly to the pilots and not talk too much about the equipment. However, I did mention in a few of them that they really needed certain equipment. But I want you guys to let me know down in the comments below, what is your favorite setup that you've either played or seen played or heard about or whatever, between the actual vehicles, their pilots, equipment, maybe added Frenchie onto there. What do you guys think is all around the coolest thing you've seen? Or specifically, is there anything that I'm missing maybe that you found is really, really cool? Let us know. But if you guys enjoyed this video or got anything out of it, make sure you smash that like button because it does help me out a lot. And don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. But if you guys would like to help support the channel even more, make sure to check the links in the description below for the Patreon, or hit that join button for the YouTube memberships. Either way, for as little as $1 a month, you get entered into our monthly giveaways, as well as see your name here in the credits with all these other amazing people. But that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, this has been HeroClix Headquarters, signing off.